the current president of Mexico does not intend to legalize marijuana, even though the Supreme Court in the country ruled in favor of legalization. Now, the president is Enrique Pena Nieto, and Pena Nieto said in a speech that for me, it would not be desirable. I am not in favor of an eventual legalization of marijuana. The president said he welcomed a debate on the question and invited doctors, sociologists, and other academics to contribute, but said it should in no way represent an opening for the consumption of much more dangerous drugs. Now, as you guys know, Mexico is dealing with a serious issue with cartels and drug violence, and one easy way to solve some of that problem would be to legalize marijuana. And keep in mind, the Supreme Court already ruled in the country that marijuana should be legalized. But in Mexico, the Supreme Court works a little differently, okay? They have to make a similar ruling in 5 more cases in order for it to be the law of the land. And if they make this ruling only in 1 case, well, then it's up to the lawmakers in Mexico to decide whether or not it will be legalized.
So the reason the Supreme Court decision was so important is that in 2016, the United Nations is getting together and deciding their new policies on drugs. Now, that's going to affect so many countries, obviously, throughout the world. Now, Justin Trudeau won in Canada, and he's saying that he's going to move towards legalization. Obviously, we've already had 4 states in America that legalize recreational marijuana, and about half the states have legalized medical marijuana. So as Canada is moving in that direction, the U.S. is partly moving in that direction. If Mexico's Supreme Court says, hey, it's a fundamental human right to be able to smoke whatever you want, right? And then Mexico starts to move in that direction, especially as this big, important meeting is coming up. Well, I mean, we might be hitting a tipping point. So it's unfortunate that the Mexican president is standing in the way of that.
What's his incentive? I don't understand. Well, here's what his incentive is. I actually know. A recent poll in Mexico indicated that 77% of people in Mexico disagree with marijuana legalization. Now, it might be because of the drug violence that's taking place there, and maybe they've bought into the propaganda that legalizing it would increase drug violence, but it would do the exact opposite. So he's probably just following the polls.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you're in the midst of a quote-unquote war like that we started, honestly, what people start to fall into the different camps. And so they view, okay, the drug war is terrible, I hate the drug gangs, so I hate drugs, so they're bad, they should be illegal. No. If they were legalized, we've seen it in Portugal, we've seen it in every instance that it's happened in every country. There's less drug use and, of course, a lot less gangs because it's not criminal anymore, right? So it would help Mexico infinitely if we were to all legalize drugs, at least start with marijuana. So unfortunately, the president there is on the wrong side of history. And we're going to win on this issue because this prohibition is just as stupid as the first prohibition on alcohol. And it's just a matter of time. And they're trying to stand against the tide of history, but it won't work. The Mexican Supreme Court is right about this, and they're going to win.
Absolutely.